Fantastic. Welcome back, friends. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in. We're currently in Vancouver in a little suburb called Mount Pleasant.
Yes. In a house sit.
In a beautiful house sit.
Yeah.
Very wholesome little apartment.
One bedroom apartment
Mm-hmm.
with a cat.
With a cat.
I'm loving life
We're at home.
because I love cats
Yeah.
and I miss my boy. And so
Yeah.
getting a
Beautiful
dose of
shit.
Owen is amazing.
Owen kind of embodies like the 1 year kitty persona of like Leo that we miss.
Yeah, when he actually cuddles.
When he
off my
cuddles
lap.
and he comes up to you.
Yeah.
And
Leo is not a lap cat, so I try and force that upon him, but it doesn't work.
Oof, easy. We don't have to force it with Owen.
He wants the love.
Owen has less of the
Wants the
predator
love.
alpha and more of the...
Wait, actually, can we start? Can we start again?
Of course we can.
Yeah.
Start the whole thing. And go whenever. Just riffing about someone else's cat.
Yeah.
All right, how do you want to start it?
Welcome back.
Look at the camera. Look at him.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome, friends.
Hello.
Great to see you again.
We're back.
Where are we now?
We have now moved to Vancouver, the mainland, and we're in a suburb called Mount Pleasant, which is very central, very green, very community vibe. It's really nice.
Yeah. Beautiful. Little apartment, doing another Trusted House sit.
Mm-hmm.
Stayed for about a week with a beautiful little furry tabby called Owen.
He's gorgeous.
Yeah.
He's cuddly, unlike Leo at home. So
yeah,
it's fulfilling my dreams of having a lap cat.
I'll overlay the 50,000 clips I've recorded.
But it does make me miss our boy, which is one of the, I guess, drawbacks of going overseas is leaving behind your loved ones, human and animal.
Absolutely. One of those intentional consequences you're aware of that just comes with it. Unless, I mean...
Shout out mum and dad for looking after him.
Thank you.
It's a big task, and they have done very well so far.
Yeah, because word on the vine is that he's got himself into trouble a couple of times.
Yeah, two vet visits already, big boy.
What's going on there?
Yeah, look, 2 issues that I have had to take him for the vet for in the past as well. Vomiting and getting bitten by another cat.
He's
too adventurous. That's
too
the problem. Too adventurous.
Very good. Very good. Whereas this one, Owen here...
gets it from his owners.
That's right. Whereas Owen right here, soft little homebody.
Oh, yeah.
Homebody. Just wants 2 owners to sit down and watch Netflix and chill. Oh, he's a cutie.
He is a cutie.
As promised, this is an opportunity for us to recap some highlights, lowlights, and lessons from what's come of the last week. It's been a bit of a whirlwind as we've obviously been in transit. I've also been, doing some work as well, online as well, and Maddie's been returning to a city that she's previously been in. So we're just going to run through some things that came top of mind and go from there.
So we transited from Vancouver Island to Vancouver on the day that you were presenting, which was like a little bit stressful.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but we got there and we got there in time, you got to set up and you delivered an amazing lesson. So it all worked out well. It was just like trying to keep it as calm as possible and know that we had it down packed. Yeah.
Control as many variables as we could.
Yeah.
And then also leave enough buffer and expectation for things to blow out.
Yeah. But the night before we left Vancouver Island, we'd been doing van life and we drove down to our first house sit in North Saanich, which was right near the ferry terminal. And we got to stay with the lovely couple, Bob and Susan. And I think it was just so nice to reconnect with them again. And it really, I think, demonstrates that if you do a really good job and you form a really great relationship with people, they will offer, they'll help you out in future.
They'll literally help you out in future.
If you've given them a really good service, it'll come back to you.
100%.
Yeah. And it did for us, which was beautiful.
Yeah. And an experience or an observation we've been having now, we're nearly coming up to 3 months, 2.5 months since we've been out, is, having a sense of familiarity or people or places that make you feel like you can call it kind of quasi home away from home, or this sense of grounding. And not that you want things to go wrong, that you think things are going to go wrong, but it's kind of places like this piece that if something was to go wrong, you have someone that could call you, someone that you could call that could probably get to you in a few hours, and actually do something. And not to say that, families at home are useless, but they kind of are, at least in terms of physical proximity. And so that has been really, really lovely to know that. And they have genuinely opened their hearts and their homes to us and said that they're genuinely welcome.
They feel like family.
They really do.
And they treat us like family, which is beautiful. And they've even invited us back for another month-long stay later in the year.
Yeah. They didn't even put it up. They just knew that we were a top choice.
They wanted us to come back, which is really nice.
Kind of with a bit of subtle nudging and persuasion, but it lined up with our plans very well.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And it'll be great to have that grounding after being on the road for a very long time, and a festival that we'll come to in the near future. We'll loop in on that. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. And then after our hot transit day in Vancouver and getting settled into the house sit, we kind of had a moment where I was really excited to be in Vancouver because I lived here 10 years ago, and really fell in love with the city and know how much it has to offer and all the beautiful things to do. And, it felt like not returning home, but returning back to a familiar place. And so I was really excited, and I guess I had quite a high excitement energy of wanting to do things and really high energy about getting out there and exploring, whereas that wasn't the case for you, was it? Yeah. I wasn't at that point. No. That wavelength. We had to have a conversation and regroup to be right, where are we at? Because there's things that I've done before, Dan hasn't done before, but I don't want to go and redo these things if Dan also wants to do them, but then you're not feeling up to it. So we just had to navigate that, basically. Yeah. Yeah. And that to me was it's kind of been a recurring challenge of framing expectations up front. Yes. Rather than assuming or mind reading or kind of having, two different projections. And I think that's been, I'm really glad that we are leaning into confronting that and then reframing our rules around it, because we're going to keep experiencing that. And so if you're constantly, you're traveling and you're in new places and, you're at two different mindsets. I'm more in work mode. Maddie's a little bit more in travel mode, at least in this particular month anyway. It's a familiar place for her. It's unfamiliar for me. Just how we're feeling about things or where we're at in our personal mind space. It's even though you might be a unit, two friends or a couple or whatever traveling together, it's a reminder to constantly check in and actually be where are you at with this new place? Because we've just gone through a little bit. We forget to do that a lot of the time. Yeah, because we're just so go, go, go. Yeah. Well, we're not go, 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 but there's just we're always on the move. We're always on the move. And there's always something that you just got to Mine's always thinking of the next thing. Yeah. It's not that I was reflecting. I've had such a beautiful week of just slow mornings. Bloody heck slow. It's been so nice and just I was reflecting. I was I feel like this is kind of the first week where I felt a bit chill. Oh. It only took us nearly 3 months to finally chill out. No, we had plenty of chill before. But I think in terms of being on the go and traveling and doing things still, but not at the level that I used to. Yeah. That's great. Yeah. I'm with that. Yes. Totally. Yeah. And so I think where we came to what was really great about that conversation is that I revisited something I'd already flagged a few weeks ago. Just for reference, at the time of recording, it's currently about mid to late June that we're in right now. Yep. And this particular month has, in a good way, been very busy and very engaging with some of the clients that I'm still supporting. Just yawned. It's not that pretty boring. Late. No, it's not pretty late. It is, casually. So I'm still supporting a number of my clients that I love doing projects with. It just happens that they've all culminated and, a lot of the delivery and the execution's happening really over the next 2-3 weeks. So my mind is more about just maintaining my energy, conserving space for myself, time with Maddie and for my clients. And I'm not currently in explore vacation mode, although that's something that I have been in. And so I think really acknowledging and vocalizing to Maddie that I'm hey, I'm actually just going to shift gears. I'm not in that mode right now, but you please go do what is right for you in Vancouver, because this place has a special place in your heart. Whereas I have this comfort or knowing that we will probably return and I will come back without being in execution mode, and then I can go do all those other things. And we looked at it and it's we probably are going to come back through Vancouver at some point in the future anyway. So, my lesson there and where I want to improve, and hopefully if you're hearing this, is even if you are attached at the hip or you've been with your partner for 6 years and you just think they just get you, we're all humans, we're all thinking about ourselves 24/7. So
you can't assume they're reading your mind, like know what's going on. And it is so important it's not just for them to speak up and ask what's going on, but for you to actually speak up and take ownership. And so that's my lesson I take from it here. Saying this also is accountability, so that when this happens again, I hope that I've learned and applied that.
Yeah, I think like when we go to each new place, it's like a good idea to check in and be like, what do you need right now?
Yeah, what do you need? Yes. Yeah, what does Maddie need? What does Dan need? What do we need as a couple?
What does
admin need?
Yeah.
We're very good. We're very good at couples admin. Notice that we've been like operationalizing that, but
we do it at the cost sometimes of our own needs.
100%.
Yeah. Which we are both like constantly working at. We have both been people-pleasing-esque in the past, I would say, doing things for others before ourselves. But this year...
Or even putting the needs of a couple unit above ourselves.
Yeah. Big time. Yeah.
Which seems altruistic and the nice thing to do, but it actually isn't, because you're not good to the relationship if you're not good yourself.
Yeah. And then I guess for me as well, one of the lessons I had was like the first kind of full day we had here. I was like, as I said, really excited. There was lots of things swirling around in my head, and I just like got a bit, I think, like overwhelmed with how many things I wanted to do. And then when I like realized, I was like, okay, you actually need to like sit down and realistically think, what do you want to prioritize? Because there's always going to be more things that you want to do that you don't have time for. Like you can't fit them all in. And so it's like thinking for me about, well, what are the experiences or things that I really want to do in this block of time that we have that is realistic and still allows me to have like downtime to like, cook, write, whatever it is that I want to do. Yeah. And so I had to really prioritize things. And the list I wrote out was like ambitious.
It was insane.
It was ambitious when I wrote it all out. But what was in my head, I was like, okay, there's no
We've had less than a week.
There's no way I'm going to fit in
less than 7 days for reference, by the way, here in Vancouver.
Yeah, and I wrote out like there was like fun travel things, and then there was also like life admin things we had to do. Because you've got to realize like, we are living and like we need to keep things going, like, shopping.
House sits in the future.
Yeah, like future house sits, campsites, itinerary, looking after Owen and like keeping his parents updated and
cooking, staying fit, bloody
those things. Like there's so many things.
Yeah. But you write it down.
It's not working. And then
how do you? You write it down and it's like that seemed to nearly whack you in the face.
Yeah, I was like,
or be like a slap in the face when you were like, that is an absolute avalanche of ambition.
Like we did a few of the cool top things on my list. I actually felt really satisfied in a couple of days. I haven't even like left the apartment.
We've only left.
Well, we have left, but like not to go do exploration things, more so just to like eat or go to the shops or go to the markets. And I'm actually like, I forgot about this huge big list that I had of things I wanted to do.
Well, that matters. And I'm with you. Like an example we might flash on the screen was Addie took me to do the grouse grind.
Oh yeah.
Which overall, I think the whole activity might have carved an entire morning.
Yeah, it was a whole half day, really.
But it was like we spent more time. We weren't rushed. We were super present. My mind wasn't in this what's next thing. It was like we've actually just dedicated ourselves into each other this whole morning. And I actually really enjoyed doing one thing really well. Yeah. Then maybe like if we cut it short or rushed up the mountain and came back down and maybe didn't see the grizzly and, grizzly bear, by the way, that's what I'm referring to. And we came back and I was like, we felt like exhausted because it was good physical exercise.
Oh, yeah.
It was quality time with each other. We loved doing shared physical things outdoors. Yeah. And then we kind of felt like we earned our coffee and snacks and food later on in that day and everything that we had.
Yeah.
A constant lesson that we're iterating on.
Yeah.
Less but better.
Yeah. It's a big thing for me because I definitely notice I have that scarcity mentality when traveling of being like, oh my God, I'm never going to come back here. Like I need to do as much as I can, make the most of it, and I get mad FOMO when the weather's good. I'm like,
that did hit. And the weather was good for the first few days.
It was beautiful. And I was like, I need to do all these things and make the most of it, which like arguably I do still stand by. Like, the grouse grind would not have been as spectacular.
I agree.
If it was a Bluebird day. Yeah. Like, it's been a bit gloomy, so it probably made me feel better of staying in and doing all those admin things. It is something that I'm constantly working on and letting go of needing the weather to be perfect. Not perfect, but,
I said
making the most of it when it is good.
Yes.
And feeling bad when I'm not out there doing activities when the weather's good.
Yeah. I think there's a balancing mindset that I've taken from observing Maddie and also seeing it in myself, which is there's nothing wrong with having the ambition or the intention to want to do something when the weather's good, because that makes sense. It's favorable, you know, it's just like things feel nicer and more amplified when the weather's great. That's fine. But also being able to practice this level of like acceptance or just grace when you can still go do an activity. The weather might be less than favorable, but because you're not anchoring your happiness or your expectations on a condition you can't control. I can't control the weather. Or even if the weather said it was going to be great and then it turns like crap, like who am I going to be angry at? The weather or the weatherman, like Apple, like who am I going to be angry at? But I can still do the activity and be like, hey, I'm still grateful I still get to do this. You know, I got a functioning body and money and I got time and I can still do this activity, and the weather's not great, but it might make for a funnier memory if you're completely drenched by the top of grass grounds. And I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It could always be.
Yeah.
But that was a
well, we climbed up a volcano in Guatemala and it was shouse
right.
weather.
And how many times have you told that story?
So bad. And
value from that story alone.
But like, because like you see all these photos and videos on Instagram of it being like amazing, clear views of volcanoes, lava. We didn't see shit.
Yeah, our group got grouchy because they came back and drenched and tortured. And the value, the retelling value of that story is 100x if it was all perfect.
Yeah.
I would not have said that. They would. How was it? It was great. Oh, here's a nice photo, and that's it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So it goes both ways.
Yes.
Either way, you have a great story, great experience both ways if you can navigate that mindset. Yeah.
I'll be honest though, I don't know, cloudy weather, grey cloudy weather, or like light drizzle just doesn't do it for me.
It's a bit murky. Oh, you're saying it's full of swing. It's either like a downpouring drench or perfect. You don't want that grey in between. Fair enough. All right.
It's okay.
I get you.
Just joking.
I get you. Love it. All right. And probably another thing, or one of the final kind of takeaways to bring it to a landing that we observed about. There we go. Oh, there we go. Cut that. That we observed about like being back in an urban environment after being in a van and feeling like we have this abundance of nature all around us.
Yeah, we're in
How do you feel about cities? About living in cities?
Yeah, it was a stark contrast. I think because we literally have been out of cities for like 3+ months, and we live in Brisbane, so we don't live like right in the city. We live a bit out.
Yeah.
But you know, I worked in the city and
I had a stint when I lived in Melbourne and Sydney that was also quite in a city.
Yeah, as well. So we've always kind of been inner city people, really, for the last 10 years.
Floated around.
Yeah. And we had a big stint out of the city, and I came back and walked around downtown Vancouver, Gastown, and I was just like, doesn't do it for me anymore. It was so overstimulating, noisy, smelly, not that smelly, but like there's just a lot going on. And I think I've done a lot of nervous system work and realized that I am quite a sensitive person to my environment, like big time. And going into that city was just really for me. Yeah. And I said to you, I was like, I don't want to come back here.
Yes.
I was like, I don't really get much from walking around a CBD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And being around that frenetic energy.
Yeah. It really drains me. And so we like walked around Gastown. We went for a coffee, which was great. But I would not be going back there anytime soon. Yeah, 100%.
And I've really nothing to add other than like I think we've been reflecting on health and the environment that we want to live in, and a few documentaries that we've been diving into recently, and how like these big concrete jungles, like there's nothing natural. If you go back in an ancestral sense about having these like densely populated, noisy, polluted, stressed out environments, that is so like contrary to what our nervous system and what we need to kind of thrive and to live well is. And I think it was just a really nice sign of either growth or evolution for us. I don't know what the right phrase is.
We've always known that we do want to like move out of the city and like go for that slower pace of life.
And that was the affirmation. I felt that was
but that was a big, I wasn't expecting to feel that strongly. Yeah. Because I have like a soft spot for Vancouver.
Yeah.
But
that was when you were 21 years old, 18 years old, or I don't know.
Yeah, I was 18, 19. Yeah. So it's just, different.
Yeah, through different seasons and different priorities. And it also goes the other way. It's like, I also appreciate the season of my life when I was ripe for living in a city because I had the energy and I wanted the excitement. I was going to university, I was working a job in the city, I lived in the city, all my friends were hanging around in the city. I wanted to go to clubs and art galleries and music events, and I made the most of it. And I have no regrets, but I've closed that chapter of my life. And it was fun and it was great, but it's like, whatever that gave to me anymore, it just doesn't at this point. Maybe I sound like I'm an oldie, but...
I know, I'm like, am I just getting old?
Are we just getting old, or are we just...
Am I just turning into a country
Are
girl?
we just evolving? Yeah, or we're just going back to the land.
But I think it's
back to nature.
totally okay to change and like... we evolve and grow and like different things for different stages of our life. So
love wherever you are. Jim Rohn quote is, be where your feet are and appreciate it, because it will come and go.
Yeah.
Love it.
And that was the week, really?
That really was the week.
Yeah. It's been a really nice week, though.
It's been a good week. Yeah. A good shift.
Yeah.
Got a few realizations.
We had some, that day we went up Grouse Grind was beautiful, and just like nothing better than starting your day with like a really good bout of exercise in the sun, in the forest. It was challenging. I definitely got to push myself more. I was like slow and steady up. Poor Boo was like having to wait for me all the time.
Good.
And then there's these people like passing me, and I was like, should I be going faster?
Yeah, I don't know.
We went sore the next day, so I count that for my like steady pace.
Yeah. I'd rather steady and consistent.
Yeah.
Big burnouts.
Yeah. I guess I'm used to like doing like long hikes where it's like, it's not going to be over in the next hour.
True.
You know, it's like you got a couple hours, several hours to set in. So I think I was kind of in that mindset rather than like, this is just a
quick little
2.5 kilometer.
Yeah. It's good. It's a good one. Closing thoughts or remarks on what's coming around the corner?
We are heading off out of the city into our road trip. Very excited, actually.
Maddie's done an absolute wonder of teeing up some great camps or great hikes that we can do between here and a few, house seats we're actually dotting of the next couple of weeks of our transit. Where are we next week?
Oh my God, I just realised, how I spent all those hours doing the itinerary?
Yeah.
I should have freaking used ChatGTP. I didn't.
Yeah, and it can also create tables. I now realise. I maybe thought you did. It can create tables like that.
So full disclosure, when we were filming for Flight Center and we had to like create, like set out what we were doing and plan it all. I used ChatGPT and I was blown away. I was like, oh my God, as long as you give it the right prompts. And I spent I reckon half a day.
No.
Yeah, I spent about half a day the other day. No, but to be fair, he doesn't know what I want to do. So
That's true.
I spent a lot of time figuring out what hikes did I want to do.
Yeah.
But I could have then put into ChatGPT the hikes and said create an itinerary based off we're going to be traveling from Vancouver to Golden or Salmon Arm, wherever we're going. Yeah. From these dates, plan the itinerary. And it would have done it for me. And I forgot about that. ChatGPT is truly an untapped resource for me. Yeah. I have not been using it as much as I should.
Yeah. If you feel like you've maybe dabbled with it, but you still haven't mastered it, just know you're still early. The world hasn't caught up on it. Honestly, I don't care if you carve 5-10 minutes out every day, just spitting random prompts and just acknowledging how good it is.
Today, we used it. We were
workout routine.
Yeah, we were okay, we want to work out. This is the gear we have. So we told it.
Yep.
We want it to do
how long we want it to be. Yeah, what we want it to focus on, muscle groups or whatever. Yep. Knock it all out. Bam. Easy. Suggested circuits.
That would have taken me an hour to figure out.
Google and to do this and look at workout apps and to organize and to time it.
Yeah.
And just write copy paste it into a Notion document.
Made us 4 different workouts or 3, full body, upper body, lower body. Oh no, 4 and core.
Yep. There were time
that we can do.
Locked at a time, equipment appropriate, because what we're trying to focus, or at least really big emphasis for me with sustainable habits, is that they are what I call anti-fragile. So no matter how much life throws crazy things at you, you're in a van, you're in a campsite, you're in a whatever, you can maintain steady, like Maddie on the mountain the other day, steady but consistent. I don't care if it's slower and under what your max is. I'd rather do it every day consistently than go to the gym in a big workout session, but then do nothing for 2 weeks. What we've now got, I think, is a very
And because we're on the move, it needs to be easy.
It needs to be easy. You can get out of the van, lay something down, start.
Yeah.
We've also got a Spotify playlist called Booty Bangers. We might link it or stick it somewhere underneath this episode or DM us if you want it. And it's got some classic 2010s bangers. Feels a little bit like a high school disco.
Oh, yeah. You're going to get old and goldies when I've got access to a playlist.
Unbelievable. That goes alongside that we just whack on the JBL flip. We've got bang, circuit starts, timer on the watch, and then we just get sweat on.
Let's see how we go.
Yeah. So this is accountability, right? We've just got it out here. Next week, we need to be able to report that we've maintained.
Yeah, I'm gonna intermix it with yoga because I love my yoga.
So. Stretching's clutch, especially when we're crouching and moving around in a van.
Yeah,
got to maintain that mobility.
Got to look after the back.
Love it. All right, guys, we've been rambling for a fair chunk, but I hope there are some goodies and goldies in that.
Yeah.
In that little episode.
Yeah.
Love it.
Okay. See you next week.
Love it. See ya.
Bye.